about to go down.
It's lovely pass, and here he turns cleverly. Can he find a finish? Oh, he can!
Some skill by Joshua, and a return right hand. Good counter right. Bullen is hurt. Second right hand. That clipped him as well. Now he goes in for the kill.
Well, Ricciardo is inching into the lead, and Ricciardo will win the Italian Grand Prix!
Gabella running the floor.
Still leading the way with Canada in there too with the Netherlands.
And Musa makes it 4 goals in 2 World Cup matches.
The Monaco Grand Prix! Ricciardo triumphant in Monza.
Through Bowden, Barrett, and an early touch and an excellent...
Sports Orbit. We make the world go round.
Very good evening and welcome to yet another edition of Sports Orbit right here on the Leadership Podcast Studio. My name is Olawale Ayeni and I'll be your host for today. As you can see, I'm not actually striking alone. I have Fidelis in the building, and together we'll be talking sports this evening. Fidelis, how are you doing?
I'm good, Wale.
Of course, we head straight to our first story, where the Tigress, at this point in time, reject the sports ministry part payment of their allowance and bonuses right up from 2018 to date. At this point in time, we know that the ministry has actually asked some of the players to actually get to send in their details so that the money being owed can be actually repaid to them. But at this point in time, they actually few of the players came out and said that we actually thank the sports ministry for their swift response, but respectively declined the part payment of money owed to every member of the Tigress since 2018 FIBA World Women's Cup. Players, officials, behind the scenes staff, vendors, etc. We are a team and we will leave no one behind. The ministry is the governing body of Nigerian sports and needs to hold the NBBF former president accountable or take responsibility at this point in time. Today is the whole brouhaha, the whole saga actually going down in the Nigerian Basketball Federation. On Sunday, we saw the video that actually came out. The girls protesting that if their demands are not being met, they will actually boycott the 2022 World Cup qualifiers, which is scheduled, to begin in February next year in Australia. But at this point in time, efforts that the ministry is putting in place to ensure that these girls are being paid. Now the girls are coming out to to reject that particular part payment. They need those money full. Let's get your reaction to this.
Well, we're back to it again, Just when we thought, I think at least the things are beginning to go smoothly, then all of a sudden this has come up again. Why would you hold these people for not a year now, not 2 years?
Since 2019.
Since 2019, you've been owing these people, and now you're saying you want to give them part payments. Where has the money been? Is that the money has not been available or what? We know the money is there, but why have they not paid these girls? They worked for it. It's not like they are begging you to help them with the money. They worked for it, so they deserve the money. At least a workman is deserving of his wages,
Yes, of course.
They worked for it, so I see no reason why they should even be talking about giving them part payments. No, they have worked completely, so you should pay them in full. You understand? So I think I have to support what the guys are saying. They should reject the part payment, because even if you look at it this way, if they accept that part payments now, it may even come back to haunt them later.
Of course, as you can see, sorry to cut you short. As you can see on your screen right there, the Tigress press release. It is credible, sir, that we have to take these measures for things we should not fight for. But it is to be addressed. That we are glad we have the support of our fans, family, friends, pundits, some leadership around the world to bring awareness to what has plagued not only the Nigerian sport but Africa in general. We thank the ministry for swift response, but respectfully declared part payments of monies owed to every member of the Tigress since 2018 FIFA Women's World Cup. Players, official, behind the scenes staff, vendors, etc. We are a team who will leave no one behind. The sport ministry is the governing body of the sports of Nigerian sport, and they need to hold NBBF former president accountable to take responsibility. We will also urge the special advisor of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari to bring this awareness to him and trigger out cerebral invitation to also to Aso Rock. The rest of our demands and requests on our original interviews and documents must be discussed moving forward. And hopefully, we can come out to a common ground. These include, but not limited to total amount owned, improved travel conditions, hiring of a general manager. These three conditions are not negotiable. Negotiable, we are open to sit down conversation at the appropriate time. All communication be directed to our captain, Dora. You know, the Tigress, Tree Speak, I stand all for one for all.
Just like this, the press release says, they are not negotiable. Improved travel conditions, hiring a general manager, and the total amount they are not negotiable. You understand? Yeah. So I see no reason why they should even be talking about partner. In fact, the paying them should have lingered up to this time. You understand? Yeah. So I think they should just give them their money.
Of course, it's also said that these girls are three times African champion back to back. They won the Afro basketball in 2017, in 2019, and they repeated the same feat in 2021 right there in Cameroon just some few weeks ago. And it's also sad that this is actually coming up, building up to the World Cup qualifiers. It's just so sad at this point in time. Most of the stakeholders around the country has been, calling for the head of the former, president, talking about Engineer Musa Kida, for him to actually, leave the federation with immediate effect, and a whole lot of accusing finger is pointing to him at this point in time.
And
Even the ministry is not, spared, because people are actually fingering, the leadership of the sports ministry, for them not doing the needful, having money, been released by the federal government over the years, and just so sad that those money have not been remitted to the appropriate quarters.
And the thing is, you see, when these girls, when they go out and underperform, these same people owing them will be the first to criticize you.
Of course.
But then, why will you give in your best to a nation where after all the stress, going through all the hurdles and everything, you come back, your pay is still going to be hanging? How would you give in your best to such a nation?
Of course,
it's so sad,
And even some other Nigerians who are actually, being based abroad, it will be difficult for them to actually come and represent the country, having seen what the experience of the Tigers are actually.
It's not encouraging at all.
So, it's not encouraging. Those in the appropriate quarters, you need to do the right thing for us to ensure that our sport gets to move to the level we want it to be, at par with international best practices, so that we can actually get to win more medals and bring glory to the country, Nigeria. Away from that, we're straight out to football, where Rangers commence a closing camp in Isuka ahead of the new season. No doubt about it. Rangers, International FC, one of the teams in the Nigerian Professional Football League. At this point in time, they have actually kickstarted their preparation for the upcoming season at the university town of Nsukka for a close campaign. And according to the coach talking about Margaret said after the first section, I believe we are on track towards getting the team in shape for the tasks ahead. The players are responding well to all the drills, and hopefully at the end of the exercise, our team will be ready to make a good representation in both the league and the I2 Cup. Do you think it's done and dusted? Rangers were 2016 NPFL winners, and at this point in time, they went to the continent. They didn't actually perform to the expectation of Nigerians. But at this point, a team that has good quality, and they had a team that has a solid coach, talking about Salisu Yusuf in that particular means. Do you think that they can actually hold their own and get to win the NPFL when the league starts? But at this point in time, we don't even know when the league is starting. Maybe it's this year, maybe it's next year, or maybe it's 2023. At this point, we don't know where the league is starting.
Just like you said, we don't really know when the league will be starting now, but early preparation is one of the keys to success. You know, so they have to start preparing early now. But the truth is, you know, these are Rangers have really declined over time. You know, they were one of the top team in the Nigerian local league. You know, but over time, the past few years, they've actually declined a lot in their performance. And I hope in the coming league, they will be able to, you know, at least clinch the top 3 positions. You know,
Of course, with the
Clinch
caliber
top
of
three, yeah.
the caliber of organization and the caliber of players, we expect Rangers United to do well in the NPFL next season. But you know, at this point, we don't have a specific date. At the end of the day, we might be doing a fire brigade approach, and we actually get to label the players, get to overwork them, and at the end of the day, we will not actually get the quality that the league deserves for him to actually try with what we get to see in the West African countries. Still talking about football, player Exodus hit relegated FC Ufang at this point in time. You know that they were one of the teams that actually got relegated at the end of last season. And at this point in time, all their big stars are currently looking for a greener pasture in that particular one. In your own opinion, do you think those players should actually stay put in Ufang, or they can actually get to seek solace in where they can able to fly that training forward?
Well, as it stands now, as far as a lot of Nigerians are concerned, they don't even know if Nigerian League has a tier 2, right? Yeah. All we know
Of course,
is
there is the NNL.
you are just
The
saying
most important league in the country, according to the officials.
you are just saying it now. But as far as a lot of Nigerians are concerned, all they know is the Nigerian Professional League. They don't know that there is anything called Nigeria has a second division league. You understand? And if most players in the first division league are struggling, you know, in terms of getting their allowances paid, in terms of taking care of the players and facilities. If they are struggling at that stage, then it means going to the tier 2 or the second division is like, man.
Of course, the
NLL
is a very, very difficult league to
sure. Let me not be disrespectful, because it seems there is no attention given to the second division league in Nigeria.
No, we saw them playing the Super 8 in Enugu. It was well they say fans.
Very few Nigerians
Of course,
actually
know that about it. Very few
Nigerians know that there is a second league. So since Ifeanyi has been relegated, most of the players definitely want to go to clubs in the first division, right? Because that's the only way people can get to see them, get to see how well they can perform, and better opportunities can actually come from there. But staying in the second division, where people even hardly watch it, some of the stations that shows the normal NPFL, most of those stations don't show you don't get to watch the NNL.
Of course,
most of those stations.
You are not even getting to have more action of the NPFL.
So
no.
So you see, so I can't really blame some of the players that are going out in search of greener pastures in the Division 1 league. They're talking about the NPFL. So I can't really blame them. It's just the situation they find themselves. But
just to let you know that if I am bad, they were 2016 by 2 cup champions, cup winners, and they have actually done impressive well. Everything by is one of those private owned team in the Nigerian professional football league before they were actually relegated to the NLL. But being there as it be, it's going to be difficult for them to get their house in order.
Seriously,
because the NLL is a very, very difficult league, because it is where all the club, all the politics, all the fighting and infighting, all the things you just have to know about football, it gets to happen in that particular league. So let's just see how it pans out. We hope that the club owner talking about Ifeanyi by himself, we actually ensure that they keep these boys together, and ensure that they get to return to the Nigerian top flight.
And just to quickly add, one key part that will play in them staying in the second division is motivation. All right. If Ifeanyi can actually motivate the players, make sure that everything they need is given to them, motivate them, give them a reason to stay. I'm sure they would consider and stay. But if you don't give them a reason to stay, just like you said, it's a very difficult league. Nobody wants to go through that stress again of trying to struggle coming back into the NPFL again. And most of these players also age is not on their side. You understand? Age is on their side.
You
So,
have a good feeder
Sure.
team that actually breeding young stars that can actually graduate to the first team.
so
I think is actually lacking virtually all the clubs in the NPFL. They don't have a good feeder team
sure.
to which will actually build and
Sure,
train
yeah.
the players. But we need to go for a short break now. When we come back, the Super Eagles is in the news, and also we'll be looking at the weekend fixtures that will be happening around the world of sport right there in England. But for now, we'll go for a short break. Don't go nowhere. Welcome from that short break. It was still sports orbit right here on the Leadership and Podcast studio. Before we went on that short break, we actually looking at the rejection of the part payment that was being given to the Tigress by the Sports Ministry. The Tigers have actually get to reject that particular one. They say they need to carry everybody along for them to have a good understanding and a good outcome in that particular one. We also actually looked at Rangers, commencing training ahead of the NPFL, a league that yet we don't still have a data for that particular one. Why player Exodus hit Ifeanyi Ubah ahead of their campaign in the NLL. These are the stories we have actually talked on before we went for that short break. But let's go to the one coming from the Super Eagles camp at this point in time, where Leon Balogun has said that the Super Eagles will do everything to qualify for the World Cup 2022 in Qatar. Looking at what Balogun just said, Balogun has stated that the team would ensure that qualification. Balogun made this in an interview with newsmen that although the Nigeria has only failed to make it to the one of the last 7 World Cup since making the debut at 1994 edition in USA. But I just wanted that. Do you see the Super Eagles of Nigeria qualifying for the Qatar 2022 World Cup, taking a look at the performance in the qualification so far in Group C of the ongoing World Cup qualifiers?
Since after that 2012 Nations Cup, where late Stephen Keshi gave Nigeria and gave the Super Eagles a Nations Cup. Since after that time, they did the trophy.
2013.
2013, yeah, sorry. The Super Eagles seem to have been struggling since then, because it was after that time they missed the last World Cup. They didn't go, they didn't qualify. So it's like since after that 2013, the Super Eagles have been trying to get their foot solid on ground, but they've been finding it difficult. So just like Balogun said, said they will do everything to qualify for Qatar. They just have to do everything to qualify.
But so far, how will you rate the team? Won their first match. We know that the team is talented. They have a whole lot of stars. banging Eagles week in, week out. Seme banging Eagles for Napoli, Paul Nacho for Ghent. Indeed, has been playing well for his club week in, week out. The list goes on and on.
Sure.
But looking at our performance during the qualifying stages, the match that we have played, those matches we have played, we actually struggled against Sierra Leone. That was when we were qualifying for the Cameroon 2022 World Cup. We struggled against Sierra Leone. We scored 4 goals. Sierra Leone came back and equalized 4-4. We went to Freetown. We drew that particular match 0-0. We went again. We came to Lagos to play Lesotho. It was not a convincing win, 3-0. For me, we don't expect the caliber of the players that we have that we should actually go out there and play 3-0 against Lesotho. No disrespect to the Lesotho team.
Sure.
We saw the game against Iberia. We just managed to score 2 goals in that particular one. We went to Cape Verde. Cape Verde, it was just a saving grace that we actually know that the Cape Verde actually scored an home goal. That actually gave us a 3 points away from Cape Verde. We came back to Lagos for the game against Central African Republic. At the dire end of the game, we lost that match 1-0. We went straight to Cameroon for the return leg and we won them 2-0. With all these arrays of stars we have at the national team, do we need to be using calculator to check if this social team draw, social team lose, if we win or if we draw? This is when we have to qualify. Looking at the likes of Cameroon, Morocco, they have already qualified for this second round, for the third round and the final round for the World Cup qualifiers, while other countries, Germany, Denmark, that have actually not qualified for the World Cup. But looking at the stars we have in the Super Eagles, do you think Kenneth Ross still have a whole lot to offer the team, or you should just call it quit at this point?
To be frank, everyone knows that the result we are getting from the Super Eagles is not commensurate with the quality of the players we have in the team.
Yeah.
Because if you look at how they play individually in their respective clubs, they perform very well. They score goals. Sima is there, Iwobi is there. Just mention their names. They are all there performing so well in their respective club. But the problem has been when they come together to play as a national team, they seem not to be able to understand themselves to get the results.
Is it that they are actually playing for self-glory, or they are not really, being compatible?
I think that is where Kenneth Rowe has to come in. Sometimes, if you see how Kenneth Rowe play Iheanacho,
they play behind the main striker.
Behind the Osimhen. Yeah, he plays Iheanacho behind him. So if you look at the way Kenneth Rowe plays the way he positions the players at times, that is one. The another thing is, I think they've not been able to build themselves together as a national team. Sometimes they still play like, they are playing for their clubs or whatever. So that's why sometimes you see the results we are actually hoping for, we are not getting it. So that inconsistency seems to be there. They win today, tomorrow they lose, and from there, just like you said, they've turned us into mathematicians, and on the other side, they've created so many prayer warriors. Because while some will be calculating,
While some will be praying,
while some will be calculating, some will be praying. It's. I think Nigeria, the Tiger is supposed to have gone past that level. Now, looking at the Super Eagles, we knew back
we don't really command that fear we used to
at all
in the 19.
At all, yes. So now when you talk about Super Eagles, even in Africa, not even in the rest of the world now, just within Africa, Super Eagles,
Madagascar,
you can imagine. Now you see Central African Republic after that first division, after they beat Nigeria 1-0, you could see how they were talking, as if they were talking to one. One
this
small
was a major first win in the history in the 9 years,
and they got it against
Nigeria in Lagos.
So I think Balogun I think he's right. They should just do whatever they have to do to make sure they qualify for 2022, because I think enough is enough. Let them just try to give us hope as supporters of the national team.
Of course, just to let you know that Nigeria is actually sitting at the top of Group C in the 2022 World Cup qualifiers, where They have about 9 points from 4 games. They were followed by Cape Verde. They have 7 points from 4 games. While Libya, sorry, I beg your pardon, Liberia and Central African Republic have, 4 and 3 points respectively. And they're supposed to play Liberia in the next game in Moldova. That would also be on a cracker. That will be actually coming up next month at 4 their final game here in Nigeria. The venue is not being revealed at this point in time, but we'll keep an eye on that, and as we keep getting those vital information, we will let you know about the proceedings in that particular one. As you can see right there, those are the group in that particular order. But for now, Senegal and Morocco is qualified for the next one. Hopefully, the Super Eagles should qualify. Hopefully, in the next match, if they get to beat Liberia, and they hope that Cape Verde get to drop point against the Central African Republicans, then we can ensure a safe passage to the next round of the World Cup qualifiers. Away from that, still talking about one member of the Nigerian Super Eagles, talking about it will be at this point in time. Everton boss Rafael Benitez has actually said that Iwobi has returned back to full training ahead of the Sunday meeting with West Ham. We know that he has been injured since he sustained injury against Manchester United, since against the Merseyside club, since against Manchester United, and he has not been in action. He actually was out from the two double-headed clash between Central African Republic, and at this point in time, the 25-year-old is available for the home clash against the Hammers. Should we say it's a good news for the Super Eagles, due to the fact that in the first leg against Central African Republic, Genetro actually complained that why we lost that match was because Iwobi and Ndidi didn't actually play that particular match.
And that's exactly what I was just gonna go back to. Because after that first loss, Kenneth Rock came out to say Iwobi was greatly missed in the squad, and according to him, it seems like maybe it's because Iwobi wasn't in the team. That's why even the Super Eagles went on to lose.
So my question is, should we build a national team around some certain players?
Even on our episode, I think after that match, the next day, on our the episode on Sports Orbit, we talked about what Kenneth Rose said, and the thing is, you can't come out as a coach to start talking like that, because there will definitely be a time where Iwobi will not be in the team again. Doesn't mean that when Iwobi leaves the team, we will not be able to win match as a national team. You can't build a team around just Iwobi. That's why you have other players. Even in life, you have to prepare for the worst, sure, because there are unforeseen circumstances where you have to prepare for, like, okay, if this happens, then I have alternative. You understand? So I think, though, even at that, we may not really blame the loss on Iwobi's absence, but we all know that Iwobi is a good player, is a quality player at that, and I think him being available for the next match, even though it may not be a good news to all Nigerians.
It might not be available because due to the UK COVID restriction,
that would be
that might not be traveling to Moldova for that particular match.
Sure, that would be another thing. But for Kenneth Rowe, since he gave that as an excuse for losing the first match against the Central African Republic, probably this would raise a glimmer of hope for him, and maybe he has to come out and give us a win in the next match, since Iwobi was the cause of us.
I said, but personally, I did actually subscribe to the fact that Genetro is saying because Iwobi was not around, and indeed that's why we actually lost at that particular game. It is a game of 11-11, the best 11 for the country. Does he want to tell me that he does not have players that can actually play for kind of like, if it were a Yimba that actually played at those Central African Republic,
they would have won.
Yimba should have actually hit five passes at those guys. But just so sad, we tend to get to give excuse anytime we get to fail and we don't get to do what is right. That is why he actually came out with such an excuse. But away from that, let's look at the fixtures in the English Premiership at this weekend. So many people are happy for the return of the league matches due to the international break that actually we actually saw last week. But looking at the fixtures, early kickoff in a game between Watford and Liverpool starting tomorrow 12 p.m. 12:30 before Everton will clash against Wolves, Wanderers, before Leicester also, and Manchester City will set Manchester United will set a titanic battle. For me, that is at the peak of the match this weekend. While Manchester City will play Burnley, Norwich will play Brighton, Southampton against Leeds City, Brentford against Chelsea. Those are the match for Saturday. But quickly, just look at these fixtures. Which fixtures do you think will actually be the star match of the weekend?
Obviously, Leicester City against Manchester United. I think that would be the biggest match for the weekend.
Of course, quickly, Watford, Liverpool, who carried the day?
For Liverpool, for sure.
Of course, looking at the Sunday's fixtures, we have Everton against West Ham and Newcastle against did have to brand new Newcastle at this point in time.
Sure, I was going to say that.
Adam Money is actually working at this point in time.
They seem to be the richest club in town now.
in town. Then this weekend action will finish up. We'll finish up on Monday when Arsenal will battle Crystal Palace in a North London derby. That will be a cracker. Arsenal, former Arsenal captain, talking about Patrick Vieira, will actually be returning to the Emirates Stadium, but not as a player, but as a coach. What should we expect in that particular fixtures before we round off with this?
Firstly, that of Newcastle United, Tottenham. I would not really expect much from Newcastle. Since the new management did not have the opportunity to get
more players
into
well, at least this will actually inspire them.
Sure.
They need to prove themselves in that particular.
Sure. It will boost their morale going into the match, but much is not really expected for them. And that of Arsenal,
Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace.
North London there.
Another prayer time for Arsenal again. Just have to pray hard that they win this one.
The same way we are praying for Barcelona to win matches in the La Liga. That's the same way we actually pray for Arsenal.
Barcelona is the Arsenal of La Liga.
Oh, the Arsenal of La Liga. Honestly, I must thank you, Fidelis, for coming to the show today.
Nice being with you.
It was nice talking sports with you. Of course, our viewers want to actually thank you for staying with us right from the beginning up to this moment. We say our Sports Orbit return on Monday with a fresh and bigger package where we get to reveal all what has happened during the weekends, and also we get to let you know what will be happening during the weekdays coming ahead of us. But for now, I'm saying you have a lovely weekend. Bye bye for now. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Bye bye.